Hey, and welcome to another exciting episode of Extra Features Interview. Today, I have a fabulous guest who keeps coming back with some great stuff, so please check out his stuff. Good Babies is old short, but I haven't seen it, so it's a new short to me.
Mhm.
Emmett, I'm gonna script your last name, so just do it for me.
Emmett Loverade.
Laverty. I always want to say
Yeah.
something else. Well, welcome back either way.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So, you being a writer director of almost everything you do,
Yeah.
where did this concept come from? Because I really like the concept. It's something I'd seen before, but I think you tackle it a different way.
The, um, well, a good baby is, it's actually, it happened to some friends of mine, and it was these three women, they were all friends, and they used to get together all the time. And one time they got together, and one of them said to the other two, she said, "Hey, isn't this wonderful? We make up the perfect woman, the three of us." And the other two were like, "Well, what does that mean?" And she goes, "Well, you're the brains, you're the personality, and I'm the beauty." And the other two were not happy. They were like really devastated and insulted, and they were telling me this story, and they were like, "She can't say that." And I said, "Why did this bother you so much?" And that it was I just found the whole topic so interesting that I asked their permission to write a script about it. And so that it the full script is called Beauty, Brains, and Personality, but we did a 5 minute excerpt from the script, and we made that a 5 minute short film, and that's we named the short film A Good Baby. It's based on one of the things that one of the characters says. But yeah, A Good Baby contains the moment when this question or this statement of "I'm the beauty and the other two of you or whatever you are," um, it's the inciting incident, as they say. And um, yeah, it did really well. It was entered into a contest recently, and it did very well in that. And it led to the feature film being made also.
Okay, we're
So
gonna get to the feature film, people. I
yes.
promise, but that's gonna be at the end because I haven't seen it, so I can't really discuss it now. Now, you say you know these three women. How do you know them? Are they friends of yours? Did you meet them at a party?
I actually, at various times, have been very active in a local church,
Oh,
and
okay.
just going to events, being social, and being on committees and stuff like that. So I that's how I met these women, and all three of them I considered to be good friends. Some more than others, but and they were just talking about this experience they had with their mutual friend, and they told me about it. And I get the thing that shocked me wasn't the event, it was how hurt they were. And it was like, because if it had been men, as most men would attest, the guys would have just said, shut up, you're an idiot. Like they would have just laughed it off.
Absolutely.
But and I thought, why would you not react that way? And it just pointed out the difference between one of the main differences between, I guess, men and women is that um, I don't know. I guess men routinely insult each other.
We do. We do. But I think men take it in jest and women take it in
Yeah,
truth. It's just the way we
yeah,
are. Now, my
yeah.
next
She wouldn't have
question,
said that. Yeah.
are these women still friends? And have they seen the short?
Um, I believe they have seen. Two of them have seen the short. Two of them I stayed in contact with. Um, and the third, I don't know what happened to her. I don't think they ever repaired their friendship, which is kind of sad, frankly.
Wow.
Yeah, because I mean, it really. I don't know if it was because solely of this, but I think maybe it had been mounting over time. But yeah, it was and that's the thing is that the way I am, the way I approached it when I was writing the script was I kind of gave it a happy ending,
Yes.
and um, Yeah, I don't know that it played out that way in real life. A lot of times you get to write the story you wish happened.
Well, you're the
Rather,
writer. You can do whatever you
yeah.
want. You got them all hit by a truck at the end of it and be like, okay, well, that's the way it ended. But that's
Hmm.
why you're a writer, and they got to understand that writers get to do what they want to a point, I guess. Now, my next question is, how did they see the short, and when did they see the short, and their reaction to the short?
Um, well, there's another step in the journey, which is it actually became a stage play first.
Oh,
Yeah, it was. Uh, I wrote.
hold on. Just want to back up
Yes,
1 second. Is this the film as a stage play, or is this the stage play, the short?
the Beauty, Brains, and Personality is a like 90-minute stage play.
Okay.
And then it was made into a 5-minute short film, just kind of a proof of concept, like we can do this to raise the money to make the feature. And then we found the money to make the feature, and then it was made into a full feature film. Um, and but yeah, this but yes, these two of the women did come to the stage play, and I think they enjoyed it. I hope they did enjoy it because honestly, it was the message of the play really is your friend, that is her terrible way of telling you how much she admires you. I mean, you can be you can be insulted by that, but it's actually she's saying you guys are you're brilliant and you're vivacious and fun to be around, and and all I am is the pretty girl. And so that I tried to explore that in the full story, but again, you don't always know if your message is landing, with the people it's intended for.
When you're writing for a play, do you write
Yes.
differently than a feature film?
um yeah, because of just the limitations of when you're writing for a play, you're always writing in the same way as a filmmaker does. You're writing with the how do I get this on its feet? How do I get this on stage? And of course, it's always budget. It's always small cast, as few, do your thing with as few characters as possible because every new character is more expense, and then few locations. So if you can set it in a single apartment,
Yeah.
or something like that, then and so many great plays have been set in one room, you know. So I guess what I'm saying is the theatrical audience doesn't mind so much when something is very contained because it's about the drama. Like if you ever saw Sam Shepard's True West, that just takes place in one guy's cabin in the middle of the desert. But
Trying to
it's
remember.
riveting. But but yeah, so yeah, when I write for the stage, I'm always thinking in terms of keeping it contained, keeping it cheap, because a lot of time some playwrights never even get this message that hey, the reason we didn't choose your play is because you've got a cast of 90, and it's taking place all over, the world, and you've got three time periods, so we need costuming for three different, it's too expensive. So, but I find that to be a great starting point to make a film because you've already you've already simplified it a tremendous amount, and so now it's, if anything, you're trying to make it more visually interesting. So you know maybe instead of having it all take place in one room, let's let's move it around a little, let's put it in different coffee shops or something like that. um, but that's much easy. It's much easier to, as they say, open it up rather than condense it and make it smaller for budgetary purposes.
Okay, you shot this in a room, though, by the way, people. It's one room. That's it.
Yes.
what room is it and where is it?
That is at the home of the producer of the short, Dawn Strasser Jacobs, and she was a big proponent of the show right from the beginning. We shot the 5 minute short in her house, and then when we raised the money to make the feature film, um, she and I had been staying in loose touch, and I reached out to her again to be a producer on the feature, which she was kind of surprised about because she hadn't heard from me in like 5 years. But I was like,
Ah,
well, of course, I'm gonna come back to you. You gave us the start here. So she co-produced the feature film, and she's been great every step. We actually shot a tiny bit of the feature in her house, but most of it, we she lived a little further away for so it was easier to shoot somewhere closer to the center of Los Angeles than where she lived.
the lighting of the room, I like it. I really do. I find it's not strong. It's kind of just
Mhm.
perfect. It seems like they're actually hanging out. It doesn't feel like a set at all to me.
Well, we didn't. We I tried to not disturb, her layout. So I tried to just kind of use it the way it was, and I do have a set of lights that I bring to shoots, but I try to make it very, you know, I don't try to make it look, we have these gigantic lights that we've placed all over the place. I try to make it look like the light is coming from the light fixtures that you can see, like a table lamp or, something like that. So thank you. I'm going to take that as a compliment
It
that it
was a
looked like a,
compliment.
yeah.
Okay, music. Let's go over that quickly.
Yes.
It was nice. It was I could really felt I was at a dinner party. I would say like I could have been the fourth person at this room listening to these three talk about it to each other, just sit there. And the music just kind of added to it. It could even be like a coffee shop.
Well, I credit Dawn for that. She found the composer. His name is Robert Casal, and it was kind of presented to me like, I hired this guy Robert to do the score, and here's what he came up with. And and it was played for me in the context of the movie, and I thought it fit in almost perfectly. I maybe had one or two comments, but and then again, there's a 5 year gap from when we made the short to the feature, and 5 years later, I came back to Rob Casal and I said, would you do the music for the feature, and would you base it on what you wrote for the short? Because I was so happy with it. So the score for the feature film is an expansion of what
Hmm.
he wrote for the short film.
Well, when I ever
So
see it, I'll look forward to it. When you're
it is,
writing,
yeah.
do you think about pace at all? Because your dialogue is very quick, I found, and like a real conversation, like I was saying. So when you're thinking and you're writing it, does that go through your head? Do you
Oh
speak for
yeah.
each character, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You're speaking for this person, or does that come later when you're rereading it?
No, it comes from, I mean, obviously I speak it aloud as I'm writing it just to see if it flows. Like, no one is ever going to say a sentence like, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Like, that's not conversational. And um and you know and 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 you, the writer, it is incumbent upon you to catch that. And there's a James Bond movie, Moonraker, if you remember, 1977 or
I was
78.
there.
Well, one of the characters, the wonderful Holly Goodhead,
Yes.
she says, she says, could this possibly be the moment for us to pool our resources? And what am I? I'm 11 years old, and I'm hearing this, and I'm going, what?
What?
Nobody would say that. Like, it was the clumsiest line of dialogue, and it just, but that was an indication to me, like, okay, so you know, not just because something's in a movie doesn't mean it's perfect. And that was that was a very early indication to me that yeah, that not everybody is working at a professional level on this. And uh, you know, it's you want to try to make your stuff sound like real people, as we would always say. So I've just been and the advantage that we had for Beauty, Brains, and Personality, and for A Good Baby, was that it had already been on stage and it had already been tested, like in front of live audiences, and um, it was so we knew where the laughs probably were going to be. We knew, you know, we knew how long things should take. Um, when we turned it into a film, it was there were some scenes that were shortened, and then there were some scenes that were added because um, just because we felt that the film audience would demand things that the stage audience, you know, the theater audience wouldn't care about. Like, for example, the stage play has no men in it. There's no men in the the whole play is just these three women. They talk about men. They talk about men in their lives and in their past, but they're not. The men aren't there. And when it came time to make the film, I thought we've got to have men in it. It's just, you know, it's too gimmicky. These women don't exist in a world where there are no men. So, but the male characters who are in the movie, their parts are very small, and they're mostly for laughs. You know, it's they're comedy parts. It's not. Um, there's one guy who's kind of a romantic lead, but even he is, you know, he doesn't. He's not on screen because I didn't want the movie to be about who gets the guy. I wanted the movie to be about what happens to the friendship.
Right. I
You
think
know.
it should be that. I agree with you. The three women each have different hair color, a blonde, a redhead, and a brunette. Was
Yes.
that a casting decision, or is that just the way it worked out?
The um the okay, the blonde is Ellie, and Ellie is a blonde, so that was her. That was what she brought to the table. And then the redhead, I actually think her, I think her natural hair color was blonde, but she's one of those actors who switches colors according to the needs of whatever part she's doing. And I think at that time she was doing something that required her to be a redhead. So that's what we got. And then the third actress, uh, I am so sorry with the I have so much trouble with names, and I love these women. I love working with them. Um, anyway, the third actress, she is sandy blonde, and it plays a little darker. But yeah, it does help. Early on, somebody pointed that out to me when we were casting a play. You know, she said, "Oh, this is good. You got a you got a you know." She said, "Should I have this part because that would make two blondes and one brunette?" And I was like, "Who cares?" But more I think about it, the more I think about the stage picture and about just helping the audience keep track of who's talking, and you know, I realize that that is actually a very important consideration. You know, whatever you can. I mean, I'm not an advocate of not giving people parts because of the color of their hair, but I think that you can whatever you can do to differentiate, um, you know, characters so that the audience doesn't have to sit there and go, "Who is this?"
I was just about to say it helps me out a lot as a viewer to know who is who. Like I don't care if they have a little flair. I just need that so I know, oh, that's this person, that's that person.
Yeah.
And I do find a lot of films if their lighting isn't right and they're doing let's say horror films
Hmm.
and they have a group of people, sometimes I don't know which one's which. And I'm just like, okay, I'll find out in a few minutes because somebody's gonna drop dead. I'll just
Yeah.
figure it out afterwards. But I'm like, help me out a bit, director. Let me engage with your world.
Oh yeah. Well, this if if you've ever seen the stage show A Chorus Line, it's a bunch of Broadway dancers. And if you look at the poster of it, you can actually, even though the original poster just shows everybody lined up and it's almost a black and white line drawing, but everybody has a little something. Like one of the characters, his name is Cassie. Like most of the women are wearing leotards. Cassie is wearing like a little skirt, and she's the only one wearing a skirt. And then there's some guy who's wearing like a hoodie or something like that. Basically, it's all these little clues, and they don't change during the show. So you can kind of hang your hat and go, okay, the woman in the skirt is going to be Cassie, and because it's too much work otherwise. If you're Anyway.
Okay, where was the stage play presented? You keep talking about it, but where could I have seen it?
It's it debuted in East Hollywood in Los Angeles, at a little place called, well, it was in a place called the Stage Theater. No, the Space Theater, excuse me. Doesn't matter. I don't even think it's there anymore. But it was this little box, and it was then put up in Arvada, I believe it was called the Arvada Playhouse in Colorado, and I think that's out of business now. And it's just these various venues have done it, mostly in the U.S. and a couple in Canada, and I know it was put up in England as well. So it's and it gets done every now and then. It was just done. Beauty, Brains, and Personality was just done by the San Luis Valley Theater Company in Alamosa, Colorado, last October 2025. And I actually went to see it. I went to the show, and I had a fantastic time. I thought they did a wonderful job. So check them out if
Okay,
you happen to be
here's a
there.
question. I presume they
Yeah,
knew you were coming, obviously.
yeah, yeah. But they
Right,
didn't. That was my, what I mean. Like, they arranged to have the rights to the play, and
right.
that could have been all of it. I was the one who said I want to come see it, and I made my own travel arrangements and bought my own tickets and everything like that. So, um,
So when you see it, I mean, you have a vision, obviously. You've seen the play probably a few times.
yeah.
How's it seeing it in different places? Like somebody just bought the rights from you, went and did it, and you're like, you know what? I want to go see my play. How does that
I
make you feel? I mean, you're seeing a different vision than what you had, obviously. I mean, different directional choices, probably. Do they
but
change the script at all?
no, they're not. That's actually something that's very specific about the agreement that they sign, which is you don't change the dialogue. Um, and I mean, granted, sometimes somebody's going to flub a line, they're going to get something wrong, or whatever. Or if one of the characters says, "Thank God for your blonde hair," and the actor doesn't happen to have blonde hair, I don't have a problem with them changing it to whatever they need. I'm not a stickler for that kind of thing. Um, I love seeing what people do with the show, because here's the thing: I directed the movie. My vision's already out there. So
Well, that's what I meant.
yeah, so if somebody wants to know what Emmett's vision was, it's there to see. I would love to see what somebody else's vision. For example, there was um the when they did it in Alamosa, there was an understudy who didn't actually get to go on. Um, but I it was going to be a very different interpretation of the one of the parts, and I told him, I said, I wish you had a chance to go on, because I would have loved to see that show. I would have loved to see you in this part, like you. And I don't want to reveal a lot of
No, I
you
understand.
you know, but I just I love seeing what people, because first of all, laughs are different. There's a new interpretation can change the meaning of jokes, which can be fun. Because it's a comedy ultimately. I mean, that's that. I was talking to a friend recently. We had done a show together, and she was very worried about her portrayal of in this show that we were doing, and she was getting a lot of laughs. It was a very funny part, and she said, "Oh, I don't know if I did a good job." And I said, "You know what? I'm going to say this something my father used to say to me, which was, did you get your laughs?
Nah,
If you
it's
got your
true.
laughs, then success. I mean, as long as it's not you didn't as long as you didn't get a laugh because you fell over or did something, you know, accidental that is not intended. But I mean, if I love seeing an actor in control of an audience so much that the audience is laughing when the actor wants them to, and just running the show like any good comedy, or
Oh,
even you know non-comedy.
okay.
Sorry.
Short's only 5 minutes. We spent a lot of time, which is great.
Hmm.
You come on at the end. So I'm one of these people that actually watched the credits, but this is pretty quick. You come on and said,
Yes.
"Hey, we made a movie of this," but the actors couldn't come back, and I'm upset. And I stopped right there. I want you to know I did not watch anymore
Oh,
because I brought you on to discuss it. So I wanted
yes.
to hear why. So that's why I stopped watching that. If there's a need for me to go back, I will, but I figured it would be more fun to discuss it here.
No, the act. There are several reasons that the actors who made the short film could not come back for the feature film. One of them was the time differential because it was 5 years later, and I know at least one of the actors was then living in England, and another I think had returned to her home in Illinois, and I think the third had moved to Minnesota. Like people just,
Ah,
they
okay.
they go to where they and and the other thing was that the short was made under a Screen Actors Guild union contract. And when we started out making the feature, we were going to shoot it with non-union performers. And so the leads in the feature are non-union. And we'd actually reached out to the performers who were in the short, but they said, I can't be in a non-union film. We eventually ended up changing the contract to a union contract. So it ended up being a union film, but by then the leads had already been, their parts had already been shot. So, um, and I thought they did a wonderful job. It's, and frankly, the script designates ages for the characters. And some of the dialogue, let's just say, is a little more believable when it's coming from a younger person.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So it was considered that it'd probably be better if these were younger characters, So that's another consideration.
What director made you want to become a film guy or a player guy, whatever you want to be, a writer?
Well, I mean, I hate to engage in cliches, but I saw when I was 11 years old, I saw Close Encounters of the Third Kind. All
Great
my friends
film.
saw. Everybody loves Star Wars, and I love Star Wars. That was great, but that wasn't the movie that did it to me. It was when I saw Close Encounters. I said, I sat through the whole movie with the jaw in my lap, and I walked out of the theater knowing what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I also, by the way, I also really, really love, and I'm a huge admirer of Richard Donner, um,
I agree.
because the thing I love about him is the huge variety. I mean, Superman, of course, was my first introduction. Then I realized he did The Omen,
Yep.
which very different movie than Superman. And then he
Goonies.
did Goonies and Lethal Weapon. I mean,
Yeah, I was about to get to Lethal Weapon. He does
yeah.
everything.
And all of these have their own personality. In other words, they don't feel like a Richard Donner film. They feel like the film that they needed to be. And he and I thought I would rather be that kind of a director who makes the film into whatever it wants to be, rather than, you know, I'm putting my stamp on everything. Because here's the thing: I love Spielberg, but I sat through Jurassic Park. I sat through that whole kitchen scene with the lizard guy running around the kitchen, the little boy hiding,
Yeah.
and I was bored. And I
Oh,
was bored because I know Steven Spielberg is not going to hurt a child.
true, true.
There was no tension in that scene for them. I was just like, he's never going to hurt a kid. So can we be over with this? Because this is just he's not even going to get bitten.
That's true. So now you've ruined it for me. No, it's all right.
I'm sorry,
I get where you're going. Do
but
you
that's the
still?
thing. That's his signature.
It is. Do you still have a film you've never seen and should have?
Oh, I got a huge list. What was I talking about just recently? Well, okay, I will say this. It took me a very long time to get around to seeing The Sting.
Oh,
I had
really?
never
Okay.
seen. Yeah, I saw the Sting like 6 months ago for the first time, and I loved it. I loved it, but I was like, and I have no excuse except that when it first came out, I was way too young to
No, I get
understand
that.
anything.
I
And
have
then
that.
and then it's just gonna get, like, oh yeah, I'll see that sometime. I'll see that sometime. And then finally, I saw that it was on Netflix, and I said, you know what? I don't have an excuse. I need to watch this movie.
You're getting as bad as me now because that's always my excuse. I don't want to let you go without people tell me where they can find all your stuff. Because you've been on here a lot. I know you've told us, but you have a film I don't know about. So where can we find it?
Tubi. I have 5 films on Tubi, and including, um, just so you know, the film version is called Girls Night In. That's the film version of Beauty, Brains, and Personality. I am not happy with that title, and I actually am trying to get it changed back to Beauty, Brains, and Personality.
I agree. That's a terrible title.
Yeah, but it was the distributor was like their logic was, well, we think that people are gonna um, pick this up because they think that sounds like other movies. Like
I
there
would
was a
say
movie
that.
with
That's
yeah, there was a movie
yeah.
with Scarlett Johansson called Girls Night Out, I think, and I think they wanted to have that confusion. It's like when you go into the video store and you see Carnosaur
Yes. The
and you pick it up and like, what is this, Jurassic Park? I don't know. And you take it home and you watch it and you find out it's not, but they've already got your money.
yes, I get it. I think I
So
saw Girls Night Out.
I don't like that when you want to fool the audience. But yeah, it's currently known as Girls Night In. Um, and of course, if you search for my name, there's a it'll come up, associated with my films. And I have a I have a new film that's been released, and it's on Tubi. And then I've got another film that I'm working on right now, and we're hoping to get it into festivals this summer. So, um, lot it's a very exciting time, I
That's
think.
great. Thank you for your time as always, and I will
My pleasure.
guarantee we'll see you again this year. I'm positive.
Great.
Thank
Okay,
you.
take it easy.